Hi, Trevor here, reflecting on life through music. Thank you for stopping by. Well, I trust you enjoyed my last video on Australian music royalty, the Seekers, and of course Judith Durham left us just a little while ago. So just looked at their career and their influence, not just in Australia, in the world. So I trust you found that one encouraging. We're going on to a bunch of guys that were formed in 1977. Very much a musical vehicle for John Watts, a singer, songwriter, guitarist, poet, and a few other bits and pieces. Bit of a genius in lots of ways. And of course, what can we say about the 1970s? In the UK, it was a punk rock scene. People like the Sex Pistols, and of course the Clash and bands like that were really starting to say what they felt about things. And this is very much the era that John Watts grew up in. The band we're talking about is Fischer Z. Now, you might be thinking, oh, they had that song in the 1980s. We'll get onto that one in a minute because it's a song I certainly remember. Stephen Skolnick was another guy that was around at the start, and these guys hit the ground running very much in that punk rock type of vibe. 200 shows in Europe, the UK, and the US. But when the song, which we're going to get onto in a little bit, was released, John felt it was a little bit of a departure from their punk rock roots, and so Fischer Z disbanded at that point. And John went on and had a bit of a solo career, releasing around 10 studio albums in his own individual right, which was pretty cool. But you know, once a band, always a band. And around 1987, Fischer Z came back. And certainly between 1979 and 2021, there were 13 studio albums, 22 live albums, 8 compilation albums. Very successful in Europe. These guys estimated to have sold around 2 million albums in Europe, so pretty successful. Now, you might be thinking, now, Fischer Z, where do I know these guys from? Well, if you're around in 1980 in particular, you remember this little song, So Long. It's a tragic tale of a guy who found himself on his own and he didn't know what happened to the girl. So, and you know, the story goes that, you know, I was writing your telegrams, you didn't answer one. So I hired a detective to try and find out where you were. And the story was that she was no longer living in the UK. She had escaped to France. And, you know, another guy come along the scenes, and, you know, it goes on to, you know, I went to a doctor and he gave me pills to sleep, and, you know, I don't know how you've done this thing to me. I thought we had something, but you left me for someone else. Now, there's a couple of ways to take this particular song. First of all, let's look at it from an onlooker's perspective. Man, you hired a public detective, a private detective to find out where your girl was. Man, getting over it. She's obviously left you. And you could be thinking, well, to go to this extent, there's a bit of desperation in his lyrics right here, and maybe he was a bit clingy to her and she just needed to escape. That's one side of way of looking at it. Another way of looking at it is to look at it along the lines of, you know, when something happens, we're really looking for the why question, or even the what happened question. And now, if we don't get answer to what happened, it really just does us in a bit. If you go to the really like the biggest part of this, then would be, say, for instance, you know, you've lost a child, you never know what happened to them. And you know, they may have been abducted or they may have been kidnapped, and there never actually has been a resolution. You think, wow. There's no words that really come into play in this point. You know, there's no words that can be said really, because you really want to know what happened. And if you're a parent facing that question right now, I think there's something about these lyrics that may resonate with you a little bit here, because this guy goes to a lot of effort to actually try and find out what happened. So maybe the lyrics today will resonate with you just a little bit. But man, I have no words for you really, but I suppose all I can say is I'm happy to sit with you as you deal with it. we don't ever get over it, don't we? We don't even learn to walk with it, really. All of those kind of phrases just don't make sense right now. You're thinking, I just want them back. So maybe these lyrics will resonate with you today. I think it's important to realise as human beings that when our hearts and souls are in something, it doesn't matter our interaction with it or the way we might be. Our heart and soul are in something, love is in there. And as I shared a little while ago with F.R. David and his song Words, words don't come easy. Well, they don't, particularly those 3 words, I love you. Because really what you're saying is, hey, my heart's in here now, and I'm actually kind of a bit invested here, and I kind of in there. Please be gentle with me. I get a bit of a feeling from this song today that she wasn't that gentle, perhaps. We don't know the story before the relationship. All we know is what happened when she left. Man, we've got to be so gentle with people's hearts. We really, really do. We might be thinking, oh, we're kind of over them and that's kind of it. But please be gentle, because it's going to take years for some people to get over stuff like this. I mean, if you're hiring a public detective to find out what happened, there's just something there about the investment that we have in relationships. So let's please be gentle with each other around this stuff. If things do need to come to an end, well, do it gently. Hey, let's just leave it at that. So let's get on to the clips. Now, what I love about this song, first of all, John Watson vocals, his guitar work, and I've got a live version of this one which gets pretty beefed up towards the end, and we love to see that this song is done so well and translates so well live. So we'll get on to the clip. So it got so long off the album Going Deaf from 1980. There's something about that album title I'm thinking. Perhaps you're thinking, oh, I'm not sure where the Fischer Z is going. Not quite sure I like where it's going. So the album Going Deaf came out in 1980. We got the official clip, which very much tells the story of this song, Laughing in the Night, the whole thing. So we've got the official version of that one. And we've got a live version a little bit later in the career of Fischer Z and John Watts. And see what I mean? The strings, I love the way the strings are. The bass at the beginning is pretty amazing. And just the whole thing is just a really, really beautiful, compelling song. So one of those songs I kind of always remember. And as I was thinking again about bands I may have forgotten, these guys came to my head. So we got Official and Live of So Long, an iconic song for Fischer Z. We then got The Perfect Day. This came off the album Reveal from when Fischer Z recapped in 1987. I do remember this song actually, and does a perfect day ever exist? I think this is where this song is actually going. Why are we waiting for the perfect day? Why are we waiting for that rainy day and all the rest of it? Well, let's just realise the days are days, and let's not worry too much about being the perfect day. Now, if you do get a perfect day, well, that's pretty cool, and celebrate the fact you've got it, because you think, well, but do we realise they're perfect when they actually rock up? I think this is another thing this song's trying to say. So we've got The Perfect Day from 1987. There's a bit of a hint of a guy with a briefcase here, and I'm thinking about, perhaps priorities and relationships as well. We then got Marliese. This is off Red Skies of Paradise from 1981. This is the live version, so it's pretty cool to see how good John's guitar playing actually is. We need to just realise that these guys are geniuses, is what they do. Be able to have a vision for your band, and to be able to realise that, this is what I want my band to be. It's pretty cool. And the guys that are pretty successful tend to have a bit of a vision for their band. And when you can just complement what you can do so naturally in there, but not take it over, realising that the band is bigger than you, and to go with the flow with that is pretty amazing. So we got Marliese. We go back a little bit of earlier, and this is a live performance from the good old Whistle Test. So if you got on this particular TV show, you'd kind of made it. And they get on with Crank and Going Death for a Living. This is going back a little bit to their punk roots a little bit more. So we've also got a pretty Paracetemol. And both these albums came off the initial album Word Salad from 1979. It wasn't Going Death for the Living. My apologies for that one. The album was Word Salad from 1979. So we've got a bit of a medley of those two songs from those two albums. So the links to those 1, 2, 6 clips are in the description below. And I've also included my last video from the Seekers. So if you want to recap on them, feel free. Well, I've been really, again, enjoying this engagement of late. And I trust that you have been inspired today as we look at our own journey and our own interaction with love, particularly when it might be coming to a bit of an end. So that's it for today. Next time we're going to get on to the iconic, influential, just eclectic music, Frank Zappa. So until then, I'll catch you around. Bye for now.